if you are reluctant to tell me, you have misgivings or fears, I would like us to talk about your reluctance to talk. And when I explored with people their misgiving about talking and try to address it, to understand it, and at times positively connote it, positively think about it and describe it. One of the most powerful human paradoxes occur. The more accepting I could be of their reluctance to talk, the more willing they became to talk. And I'll share, like I remember, what did survivors say about their reluctance to talk. One of them was that to talk today, in order to get psychological, emotional relief from the pain that I experience, seems to me, says many survivors, as indecency. It's somehow to talk in order to be relieved today of the pain is violating, it's desecrating the memory of those who have died. And it was a very common experience. Another way of putting it is that in my parents were murdered, they have no tombstone. I have created in my own heart a tombstone, and I don't want to touch that tombstone. The memorial candle is inside my heart. So for me to say to them, you should talk to me, when they feel that was inappropriate, was wrong. And I just communicated my acceptance. Even when I try to say acceptance and understanding, I often feel a sense of inappropriateness or arrogance. Who am I to understand, or, but at the same time, I do and maybe I don't. Now, I described it as if it was between me and a survivor, but it wasn't. In the majority of cases, the survivor was here with his wife or with his children. And what I played a part in encouraging that conversation within the family. And I think it's important to say here something, which is this. One of the things that working with this group of families demonstrated to me very powerfully is the importance sometimes of minimal change. That very often you cannot change the world, you can't change the world, and you can't change the past. But to bring about a situation in which there is some conversation in the family, at times made unbelievable changes to the experience of family life. To give examples, and I think it's important to stay on the little detail. An example. A family comes to see me, and the daughter's name is blah, blah, blah. And I say to the parents, or to her, I raise the question, who is she called after? And for the first time, she's told that she is called after father's mother who died in the Holocaust. And it opens up, whether it's in front of me or somewhere else, it opens up a whole universe of meaning that they share here. So it may be a little detail, but of course it is not. There is a universe of meaning that all of a sudden, whether it's spoken about or not, she understands that when her father calls her and he uses her name, what it means to him. All sorts of things start occurring to her. Another example. Father has hardly ever said anything to his children about his Holocaust experience. And they want to know, and they ask questions. And he says, I'd rather not talk about it. And I raise a question, which is, are you reluctant to talk because you protect yourself, or you protect them, or who are you protecting? Just opening up for conversation in the family about who is protecting whom and for what purpose. Again, it may sound a simple question, but it's a huge question. And just the beginning in the family to start either individually or as a group to explore it has huge ramification. And in a way, I think one of the things that I've been so grateful to the survivors and their families about what they have taught me is the importance of the small difference, the small conversation that can make a huge difference, as it were. And in relation to that, it may also be important to say that most of the important conversation about the Holocaust has not been direct. Most of the most survivors would tell you, I have no words. I cannot describe. I cannot really talk. The only way to communicate adequately, if adequately is the correct word, is indirectly. So the indirection may come when he says to his daughter, you are called after my mother. That's enough. Often is enough. But so a lot of the important conversation happen in the most indirect manner, I think.
And that ties in with what you say. When did I start working with them? When did I really start being with survivors? It was there already, in some way. It wasn't specifically.
Because, look, in that respect, I think I'm no different to probably any Jew of my generation, which is this. When a Jew meets another Jew, immediately you know, or within 2 minutes, whether they've been through the Holocaust or not. That's one of the, we know that. I bet you have always known it. Probably there was never a time that you didn't know whether somebody came to Australia before the Holocaust or after the Holocaust, whether they are Holocaust survivors. So you may not know the details, but you knew.
We never thought about it. It was part of that silence, growing up.
But in the silence there was knowing.
Yeah. That's knowing but not knowing.
Yeah. I think it's important that silence may not be the same as not knowing. There is a difference.
Okay.
To me at least.